You might have had some real S26 Ultra FOMO over the last couple of weeks, having seen the new cool horizon lock feature, which is actually very impressive, that new privacy display, and all of the interesting AI features. Not sure I'm quite on board with these. But if you have an older Ultra phone, say the S23 Ultra, do you need to go out and spend $1,300 on a brand new phone just to get some incremental updates? And this year, I don't think you need to, because Samsung is making it easier than ever for you not to go and pay that sort of money. This video is sponsored by Insta360's Flow 2 Pro, which I'll talk to you about a little later on. You might think that 3 generations on, the jump to the S26 Ultra might be huge, but Samsung honestly have not made many changes since 2023. And that's great news if you're still rocking the S23 Ultra, because I don't think you're missing out a ton on what the S26 Ultra has to offer. Let me touch on something that the S26 Ultra did not upgrade on again, and its battery. At this point, I feel like that everybody knows that the S26 Ultra has the same size battery as the S20 Ultra. No bump, no jump to silicon carbon, and it's still the same 5,000 mAh battery from about 6 years ago. Although on paper the S26 Ultra battery is the same as the one that you have in the S23 Ultra, I'm going to guess now that the battery health is sitting probably around about 90% at this point, which means that you've effectively lost about 45 minutes of screen on time over the last couple of years. You're probably thinking though, yeah, but the S26 Ultra has a more power efficient chip, so the battery life is going to be much better. And you're right, battery life will be better, but I don't think like by a huge amount. In fact, if you're still using the S23 Ultra, you could just go and get a battery replacement and feel that upgrade without having to spend $1,300 on a brand new phone. Although you will miss out on faster 60 watts charging and faster wireless charging from the S26 Ultra, but I really don't think this is one of those massive deal breakers, not at this point. I think one of the main reasons that people upgrade their phones though is for better cameras, and on paper you're going to see that the S26 Ultra has the exact same 200 megapixel sensor as the S23 Ultra, but there are a few little upgrades that might tempt you into wanting to upgrade. Let's not get it wrong here, the S23 Ultra can still take some very good photos, but the S26 Ultra does have a faster f1.4 aperture compared to the f1.7 on the S23 Ultra. What this means is basically the lens can let in more light, so in low light shots, photos will look better on the S26 Ultra than the S23 Ultra. And it's not just that main camera that might tempt you to upgrade from the S23 Ultra, because the other lenses have also got a little bit better over the last few years. A big jump is the ultra wide. That has jumped to 50 megapixels, so you're definitely going to see a difference here. The periscope zoom I think is better as well on the S26 Ultra, and that's because it's using 5 times instead of 10 times on the S23 Ultra. I know a load of people love the 10 times focal range on the S23 Ultra, but now I feel like the S26 Ultra is just slightly better. It's 50 megapixels for a start. It's f2.9 rather than f4.9, so that is a big jump, especially in low light photos. The lenses that haven't changed though are the 3 times lens, which I am just like, at this point, Samsung, what are you doing? How are you not upgrading this lens? So that is the exact same one that is in the S23 Ultra, so there's no upgrades there. And the selfie camera has barely changed as well. It's still not amazing on the S26 Ultra, so if you like to take a lot of selfies, there really isn't a need to upgrade because it's basically the same. You will see a big change though in how you like to record video on your phone. Now, there is the introduction of log, and I know we saw that on the S25 Ultra, but it is still here on the S26 Ultra, and it is something that the S23 Ultra just doesn't have the option for. So if you are looking to try and get into more pro video recording, then the S26 Ultra is going to be a nice jump, especially now the fact that you can use that APV codec, which means you can get lossless video when editing. I think that that is a nice upgrade, but only if you like to do pro video. And you can make that video look very nice on the S26 Ultra with the LUTs for Samsung's log profile, but there is nothing, I don't think, that is more cinematic than the smooth, stable footage you can get from a top-tier mobile gimbal. And that is where this video sponsor comes in, the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro. This 3-axis gimbal can make your footage look incredibly good. It has a built-in selfie stick, so you can get creative with very high and low angles. There's also a built-in tripod, so it can automatically follow you and keep you in frame. And it also has a 1100 mAh power bank, meaning your phone won't run out of battery while you're filming. And Insta360's Smart Wheel lets you pull off some smooth cinematic zooms while you're shooting as well. And if you want even more functionality when filming on the S26 Ultra, the optional AI tracker adds some simple gesture control so you can record hands-free. This works in the native camera app on almost any Android phone. If you are using the S26 Ultra though for videos and the Flow 2 Pro, it actually supports seamless AI subject tracking with the native lens quality across all of its cameras, from the ultra-wide to the 5x telephoto. This is with no image quality drop. If you plan to shoot a lot, then this is one of the best all-in-one accessories for the Galaxy S26 Ultra. You can check the description to get the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro, which is your pocket AI filmmaker. The first 10 orders will get 30% off and a free MagSafe phone mount. Now, I spoke about the differences in the cameras, but there is a jump that you will notice if you pick up the S26 Ultra, and that is the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. For most everyday boring tasks, you probably won't see a difference, so sending messages, going through emails, or just doom scrolling on Instagram. All of this will be practically the exact same. But where you will see the difference in the chips here is going to be in those more intense tasks, so gaming and video editing, and your AI tasks are going to be a little bit quicker on the S26 Ultra. The jump probably won't be as big as you expect, but AI photo editing, live translation, on-device AI, this should be around about 2 to 3 times quicker than you get on the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 on the S23 Ultra. So for all those new Galaxy AI tasks, this could be really useful if you use them. You do have to ask yourself the question though, how many AI tasks are you actually doing on your phone? Like if you do loads, then that 2 to 3 times speed increase is definitely going to be actually worth it. But I mean, if you're like me, I barely do any. I go into the gallery, sometimes I'll remove some people from some photos or just play around with the S Pen and create something a little bit ridiculous. And for me, I don't mind waiting a little bit longer for those AI tasks to complete. Like, I don't think that really requires a whole new upgrade to a brand new phone. Maybe one of the nudges to upgrade though might be Android updates. The S23 Ultra is now 3 years old, and it was only promised 4 major OS updates, which means Android 17 might be the last O update this phone will get. That would also mean that One UI 9 will be its final update as well, which is still not too close away because of the way Samsung stagger their updates, and it would still get security updates until around about 2028, but it is getting closer and closer to the end of life for the S23 Ultra, and I just do think that that might be one of the biggest reasons to upgrade your phone, or at least think about upgrading, is the fact that the OS updates on the S23 Ultra are almost done. We're almost getting no more. Let me talk about design, and the design is very similar over the last few generations of Ultra phone. Samsung have moved away slowly from a more pointy, boxy feel to around a smoother phone. You'll also get a slightly bigger display on the S26 Ultra, and of course, you will get the anti-reflective coating, which I still think is very good. And you'll have seen it everywhere, but obviously upgrading to the S26 Ultra would get you the privacy display. And I've got to say, it is cool. Like, we don't see that many hardware upgrades anymore with phones, but I can't figure out yet whether this is a gimmick or something that I will use every day. So far, I haven't even turned it on the S26 Ultra, so I mean, make of that what you will. Remember, there is still no Bluetooth functions on the S26 Ultra's S Pen because that disappeared with the S25 Ultra. So if you use the functions of that S Pen a lot, like the remote shutter for your camera, then you might just want to hold off on that upgrade and cross your fingers and hope that Samsung might bring this one day back to the Ultra phones. I mean, they're not going to, but you can hope. Now, I said at the start of the video that the S23 Ultra is still a very good phone, and I stand by that, but I do think that the S26 Ultra is probably a decent upgrade. It might just be time. Like, the upgrades are not huge on the S26 Ultra compared to the S23 Ultra. If I was being completely honest, you could probably hold out maybe 1 more year, or what I'd do is push you towards the S25 Ultra, because that really isn't missing much that the S26 Ultra has. It's also taken a pretty big price drop in the last few weeks, which I think might just make that one a better deal. Let me know in the comments though, are you going to hold off? Are you keeping hold of your S23 Ultra for another year? I'm genuinely curious to see who's using what down in the comments. Before you head off, if you can subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. That would be great. And if you do that, then I'll see you in the next one.